All right, what's up, guys? So everyone wants to build n8n agents and n8n workflows, but one of the most challenging parts of n8n can be webhooks. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to create a webhook so that you can pull data from any source into your n8n workflow and build whatever kind of n8n agents that you want. Now, what is a webhook? And if you're just getting started, it may seem a little bit complicated. I'm going to break it down step by step for you, as I am not a developer myself, right? So I'm going to make it as simple as possible, but we're going to show you exactly how to pull in webhook data from any data source. Now, a webhook, and you can see on the sheet right here, a webhook functions like a real-time notification system between two applications. So rather than one application continuously checking on another for updates, akin to asking, did anything happen yet repeatedly, a webhook enables one application to automatically notify another one at the moment a significant event occurs. So in short, what this means is, for example, closed CRM is someone sends a text message to a phone number in closed CRM. A customer sends an inbound text message. We can ping n8n to take an action. Now, we can't do this unless the native integration already exists. But with webhooks, we can do this as long as they have an open API. And there are basically documentations for whatever platform that you want. So all you have to do, for example, with close.com is look up the API documentation. So regardless if it's Asana, if it's ClickUp, if it's close.com, or any other platform for that matter, if they have an open API and API documentation, you can follow this process as well. So without going into too many details, let's go ahead and dive into it. Now, if you guys want this document, I can send this over to you. It basically breaks down step by step exactly how to do this. And it's going to look a little complicated, but it's actually really, really simple. So when we go into here, we're going to need a couple things for the actual setup. One, you need your API documentation for whatever platform you are using. Again, just look up like close CRM API documentation. The second is you will need your n8n account set up, and you will want to use this webhook trigger. If you haven't used one of these before, you just click the plus icon, you type in webhook right over here and click webhook. Okay. Now that we have our webhook, we want to open this up, and you're going to see some information inside of here. Okay. Now, the third thing that we're going to need is something called Postman. And what this does is posts the actual request so we can launch the webhook live. And I'll explain why. Every time you connect a new subscription, you have to ping that subscription to basically notify that, hey, yes, I want it to do this thing, and here's my credentials to do this thing. And then you do not need to do it again. So you just need to post it one time, and then it will continuously look at that subscription that you created. So you do it one time, and then it'll run forever until you shut it off. Okay. So to be able to do this, you just need to go to Postman, just search that on the internet and download Postman. Once you do, it'll look like this. And I'm going to show you again exactly what all of this means. It's pretty straightforward. But we're going to come over here, and in our webhook settings, we want to change this to post. Okay. And once we change this to post, we want to put a path in here just so it's a little easier to read. So whatever this path is, this is basically a subdomain. So you have your main domain up here, and then you have a subdomain right here. And we're just going to call this inbound SMS-YouTube, for example. Okay. So now my full URL is this plus this, and you can see inbound SMS YouTube is now right there. Now, what we want to do is click on production URL, and we're going to grab this production URL. Okay. So once we grab that, we are going to head back to Postman. Okay. And Postman, we want to post to the close API. Now, where do you get this URL right here? The easiest way, use ChatGPT to support you. So when I do this, I'm just going to show you the easiest way if you've never done this before. So say, hey, I want to create a webhook subscription with close.com that does the following. When an inbound SMS is received to a phone number in close CRM, it should ping the webhook and send the data over to n8n. Okay. All you got to do. Now, this is going to get you 90% of the way there, and you can just follow the instructions, right? But now we can ask it questions, and it will provide the information that you need. So you can use Close Webhook API to subscribe to SMS events. Here's the JSON that you need to send in Postman. We talked about Postman. So here's the actual thing. Post 2. Here is the actual URL subscription. Okay. Headers. So we have authorization and content type, and then we have the JSON. All right. And again, I'm going to show you how to break all this down, but it is very, very simple to throw this in there. Once you understand the concept of how webhooks work and do it one time, you can just ask ChatGPT and it'll provide you 99% of the information that you need. Now, it was nice enough to provide the API documentation, which would be this. Okay. So when we come back here, we need to grab the URL for Postman. And if we look at Postman, you can see api.close.com/API/v1/webhook. Okay. Once that is in there, we need to go to authorization, and you need to set up basic authorization. All right. Now for Close, we are going to use a username with no password. And where do we get this username from? Well, we have to go into our Close account. So let's go ahead and open up Close, and we need to grab an API key from Close specifically. Okay. So when we come in here, we're going to go into our RevPilot demo account. Let me open that up, and we're going to go to settings. And actually, I'm just going to use my actual RevPilot CRM account. So we go into settings, developer, and we just want to create a new API key, and we're going to call this Postman SMS n8n. Okay. We're going to create the new API key and grab this. Now, this essentially is your username or your credential for close.com that allows us to create the request that we are creating. So we're going to come over here and we're going to paste this username or API key in as the username. Okay. Now, password, we don't need a password. And then we're going to come into headers and body. Okay. Now the body is where we are telling what should be posted over to Close to create the actual subscription. Okay. So when we see this here, we can see that the URL is going to be revpilot.app.n8n. Now we need to make sure, if you see here, this was old code in here, we can see inbound-SMS. Now remember, we created a new URL right here. So we have to swap out this URL. Okay. So we just want to delete this. We're going to paste that in there. And now we have our new URL. Okay. Now this JSON code, you do not need to be a programmer. You can use ChatGPT to write all of the actual code. It's a very simple JSON piece of code. Okay. So we have the event, and the object type is going to be activity.sms, and then the action is created. Now, this part right here is very important when creating webhooks. Basically, we are adding a filter. In this situation, we are filtering for only inbound SMS. The reason being is we don't want to trigger this webhook every single time something happens inside of close.com. Now, depending on your goal, you can create a more broad webhook that sends over more information, and then in n8n, we can filter through that information. But you want to be very careful about triggering this a million times a day. Okay. Now, once we have done that, and I'll come back to the document again, you can see all of this is outlined here. Add the webhook node, configure to post, create the path, which we did, save and activate, copy the webhook URL, which we did, use Postman to subscribe, right? Change the request to post, enter the URL, which is the webhook URL, set up the headers, so your API key, which we did right there, and then compose the body, right? So go to the body tab, and then we're going to paste in this code. Now we can send the request and then verify the response, okay? So let's come back to here, and we're going to go back to Postman. And this should be all good, right? So we have our code in here. We have our authorization, and then we have our webhook key here. And all we have to do is click send. And when we send this, we are going to get some type of response. Now you can see right here, 201 created, successful. Now we have an active webhook subscription. It's that simple, okay? I know this was about 10 minutes, but once you do this the first time, it'll take you about 2 minutes to do it moving forward. So now we have an active subscription with that code, with that close account, where anytime it receives an inbound text message, we are going to see this webhook trigger. And now we don't have to reply on Zapier. We don't have to rely on the native integration inside of close.com or whatever else. Like close.com doesn't even connect to n8n at this time. So we have to use webhooks. Okay. So now all I have to do to test it is test the phone number, that is associated with my account. So let me go ahead. I'm on my phone right now. You can see right here. And I'm going to send a text to that number. So let's see here. Test. Boom. And we just sent the test over. And I should have actually toggled this on. So I may need to do that again. You do want this active. So let me test that again. Test. Okay. And then you can click on executions and you can see right here that we have a live execution. Okay. So if we open this up, you can see that it pulled all of this information in. We can see the content of the message. We can see exactly what happened. We can see it was an inbound text message to close.io. We can see who it came from or who it was to, and we can see the test right there. Okay. So now what you do from here is completely up to you. And that's not what this video is about. This video was just simply about creating a webhook subscription, no matter where you want to create it from, so that you can do this as many times as you want and send over any information you want. Now, if you want to figure out what you do with this information, once it is in an n8n, we have a bunch of other videos on our channel. I recommend you checking those out. There's another one specifically finishing this specific workflow for inbound text messages and how we create an AI agent that replies directly to this. Now, if you guys have a sales team, you have a sales organization, and you feel like there is missed opportunity inside of your pipelines, there are deals going stale, there's too much admin work, right? Feel free to schedule a time to talk with me or someone on my team. We create easy to use, scalable, and profitable sales systems through things like n8n, close.com, and many other solutions. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you go create your first webhook after this and let me know how it went in the comments. If you guys get stuck, make sure to lean on ChatGPT or leave again a comment in the section, and I will try to get back to you. Make sure you get your questions answered. Other than that, we'll see you on the other side.